It's time for another episode of Rainmaker for Contractors. Interviews and success stories with $1 million plus basement waterproofing and foundation repair owners. Discover how they market and grow their companies in today's economy. Hear directly from the most successful leaders in your industry. With your host and Rainmaker for Contractors owner, Bill Crawford.
Hey, welcome to Rainmaker for Contractors podcast. We have an awesome guest today. Noah Lantz from ArcSite is going to join us and talk about himself and his product and all sorts of great tips. His product really serves basement waterproofing, foundation repair people, and many other industries in the home improvement. Noah, welcome.
Oh, thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and your company, maybe, who you serve and what's that like?
Well, sure. So I work for a company called ArcSite. We are an easy to use mobile CAD drawing and estimate application for iPads. It basically allows anybody to draw a picture, and through drawing that picture, you can create an estimate just delivered to a client. As far as who I am personally, I live in Grand Rapids, Michigan. When I'm not working, you can usually find me in coffee houses, working on digital art, writing music, hanging out with friends, or working on my home.
Very cool. Do you write music? Do you play musical instruments?
Yes, I play piano at an intermediate level. So I can do some classical music on that. I'm a beginner at guitar, and I got into guitar because I've always enjoyed, writing poetry and stuff. So it made sense to kind of put that to music at one point. And
electric or acoustic?
Both. They're the same. Probably better at acoustic than electric. Electric is a lot more fun. You can do a lot more with the instrument, in my opinion.
Sure.
But I primarily do play the electric, just to kind of
turn up the amp, get some AC/DC and Black Sabbath on there.
Yeah, maybe. I'm not there yet. I'll tell you that.
I'm showing my age. All right, so what's special about ArcSite?
Yeah. So this is probably the best point to maybe share my screen here, because ArcSite is a very visual and tactile product, and I would even say experience, So I'm just going to do that real quick if that's okay with you.
Absolutely.
So 1 second here. Let me do that. Sure. All right. So what you are looking at here, this is what I refer to as the ArcSite digital canvas. Really what makes ArcSite special is just, through, drawing on this with your hands, you can quickly create a professional CAD design.
And you're holding your iPad, right? Like any kind of tablet?
I'm just holding my iPad up here.
Okay.
So you can kind of see how, quickly and easily I can quickly create like a CAD design, right?
So you just drew a whole foundation in 5 seconds or less.
Exactly. Yeah, you got it. And I can put windows and stuff in this.
Very cool.
But very, very simple. And, that's a cool photo and everything. I can put notes, annotations, shapes on this, obviously. We have stuff built on here specifically for foundation repair contractors. But if you want to create a bid in ArcSite, you can just open up products. And then you can really quickly just kind of draw in your scope of work. So for instance, let's say I'm placing piers in this house, I can just select a piering shape from this menu, drop it in, place these every 6 feet or so.
Click and drag,
Yep.
Pre-designed products, just so it ends up really professional.
Yeah, and then let's do some interior drainage, let's say. Draw that in. So I've just drawn a picture here, but I'm actually done with my bid now too. I can just click on create legend table, click on take off an estimate. It's priced out all the work for me. Then I can attach notes.
You pre-program it price per foot kind of a thing? You measured 120 linear feet or something?
Yeah, so you can do it on a price per foot basis. You can have tiered pricing structures. You can have different options. But it's all created just through the act of drawing. But it's set up to your pricing specification. So whatever you're currently doing for pricing, you can perfectly replicate that in ArcSite, and it's going to be 100% accurate every time.
Nice.
So this is like an example of an estimate that I've created here. We did that just through drawing a couple lines and shapes. Wow. And then I can just print this off, give it to a client, and then move on to the next job. So it's very quick, very easy to work with. And it really elevates you from being just, a salesperson for a contractor to being more of a designer.
Sure. No, that's really slick. Where would the terms of the agreement be?
They'd be behind the CAD design. Now, I didn't upload that because this is the demo account,
Sure.
but that stuff would be automatically attached when yours is set up.
Very cool. Love it. Just my initial impression is it just raises the bar for professionalism, credibility, authority. I was in the business, we always wanted to bring the most tools in. If you went to a doctor and he's got jeans and a t-shirt on and he's got, one or two things going on versus the doctor that's dressed like it and has every tool you can imagine, you're willing to pay more money for the guy that's got all the tools. So,
Well, and most people are just doing stuff on a little contract like this, right?
Sure.
So if I'm looking at a guy with a little hand drawing like this, or, the guy who walked in and did this on an iPad and drew up the terms and conditions,
sure.
even if this guy is 1,000 more or 2,000 more or something, I'm going to trust that person more than the chicken scratch drawing guy, right? So
even though there's perhaps room for error because a computer program is only as good as the person to tell them what to do, if I'm looking at the two, I'm thinking nothing's going to be overlooked if you're using a computer. That's just my, initial reaction.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool. That's very cool. That was a very fast, quick demo. That's cool. So do people ever have issues emailing in the home? Like, how does that work?
Sure. You can just email the documents out directly from your iPad. As long as you have an internet connection, you're really not going to have a problem.
Yeah.
If you're in a really rural area, obviously that might be difficult to get. At that point, you can just wait till you have the internet connection to send out the document, or just do it the way you're currently doing it by hand on a piece of paper.
Sure.
You're not going to be any worse off than you already are.
No, it makes sense to me. I mean, in those rare cases, you just wait till you have a connection, then it's going to go out automatically. That's cool. So how are you different than your competition, or do you have competition? Are other companies doing what you do?
Sure. There are other drawing softwares. There's other CAD design platforms out there. ArcSite is unique in that, we are pen and paper easy to work with. So our founder and CEO, Payson, developed a really easy drawing interface and algorithm that gives kind of anybody the ability to create a CAD design like that. Now, if you've messed around on other CAD softwares, or if you even have kind of a cursory understanding of the marketplace, you would know that softwares like AutoCAD, for instance, are really technically complex. I mean, I can take a college course in AutoCAD and still not walk away with a full understanding of the software. ArcSite can easily be grasped, I'd say, by anybody within an hour of watching like a webinar. And I mean, you saw me just a minute ago kind of quickly draw this stuff out. I used to sell gutters, and I was able to figure out the tool. So what makes us unique is just the ease of use. The other thing that makes us, completely unique is that, we work on a mobile platform, and you can create reports just through drawing. You don't need to add things up anymore. You don't need to worry about making a mistake or miscalculating the cost of a job. You just focus on training your guys on how to draw, and then everything is created, by itself. ArcSite enables you to create sets of information through drawing on a tablet. That's really what makes it unique.
And it sounds like most or all the shapes are it's click and drop. So sump up, slide it over. It looks professional. Whatever it is, it's there, right? That's cool. Hey, you mentioned you sold gutters. Is it true that you spent so much time drawing out like different homes and double, triple checking things, and you came across this software that you thought, man, I want to sell this software. The software is like amazing.
Yeah. No, it was truly kind of a spontaneous accident, I guess. I needed a drawing tool. I downloaded a bunch of them onto my iPad, and that's how I found ArcSite. And it turned out, Pay, who I just mentioned a minute ago, lived in Grand Rapids, so we were able to connect over coffee. I had some ideas, looking at his software that I really thought could help him out, and they were able to implement some of those. And at one point, it just made more sense for me to work for him than to sell gutters, because I wanted to share ArcSite and what it could do for everybody with people around the world, not just a single gutter company in Michigan. So Bill, the day we met a couple years back, I spoke at the Basement Health Association's conference. I think in June of 2019 it was, yeah. And that was my very first day on the job, believe it or not.
Little did I know. Little
Yeah.
did I know. You
Standing
were very
in
polished. You
group
know,
of contractors.
you were ready.
Yeah, reviewing ArcSite. Um,
That's cool.
so,
That's
yeah,
a cool story. That's a great story. Everyone wants a sales rep that they use their product, and it's like, I got to sell this thing. So that's cool. Hey, do you have any favorite like customer 5-star customer reviews or letters that just really validate what you're doing?
Sure. So my favorite one, I think, would be a gutter guy in Florida. His name's Brent. He owns Gutters Unlimited Plus down there. I think he has 4 or 5 sales reps. He watched some videos I put up on YouTube, wanted a demo with me, bought right away, trained his guys on how to use it. He's telling me that they've increased their close rate by about 50%.
Wow.
Maybe, I don't know if that's factually true. It might be a bit of an exaggeration, but it's obviously really helped him out. He loves the software. That touches me specifically because I used to sell gutters, so I know how much of a difference it can make. And I think Brent's really been able to fully realize that because he's using the full suite of features. I mean, he's having his guys do these CAD drawings. He's taking photos from in the application, marking them up, showing people where downspouts are going. And then the estimates just kind of write themselves. So he can kind of quickly knock this stuff out. The second one that really stands out to me is Austin Werner, who is now the head of the Basement Health Association. Didn't want to buy iPads for the longest time. Finally realized he was kind of missing out on ArcSite when I think all of his cohorts kind of signed up with the tool. So he signed up for it himself. He has his entire sales team using us. They love it. They're seeing a lot of success. So Austin, loves the tool so much. He's had people call him to, ask him about it. He's been featured on our own podcasts.
Those are the best.
I would say so. Yeah. Yeah.
I love when they say no, like forever, and then you finally sell them, and then they're like, "This is the best decision I ever made." It's like,
oh yeah,
yeah, you could have made this decision like 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, cool. Well, that's awesome. Congratulations on those. That's really great. And what you mentioned the Basement Health Association, whether it's B.H.A. or other associations, how has that played a role in your company's growth?
Yeah. So I would say, that presentation I gave my first day on the job in June of 2019 was probably the point at which we really knew this was going to work. Prior to that, ArcSite, from what I understand, had just really been a little bit of, an uphill battle because the company was new. It was a drawing tool, at that point. But being able to sign up some of the companies we did after that conference, like B.H.A, Budget Dry, a bunch of these waterproofers, some huge foundation repair contractors like Olshan.
Nice.
That was awesome proof of concept for us. And then, from the revenue we got from those, we were able to hire some marketing guys, build out the sales team a bit more. So I don't know what the right, maybe I want to say the watershed moment. I don't know if that's
sure. That fits. Absolutely.
But
yeah,
that made a huge difference. So yeah, the Basement Health Association has been huge. I fly out. I mean, prior to COVID, I was going to all the different meetings they held, showing ArcSite to new members and groups because we know it's just a great fit for the tool.
Sure. And there's over 100 home improvement contractor types, right? So you do a lot with basement waterproofing. I'm guessing foundation repair. Are there other spaces in the home improvement industry that you've had some success with, or that perhaps you're eyeing that you think would be a great fit once you figure out how to communicate with?
Yeah. So we've seen some success with artificial turf. Is one industry that we're kind of still, I would say, still breaking into. We have a long ways to go in building up kind of our brand within those folks, but we still have some big names on board, like Forever Lawn is one where we have several of their locations using us. So artificial turf is kind of a really cool use case. That's a developing market still. Obviously gutters, I think are a really good fit for the product.
Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, those are the two main industries I'd say we've seen success with. We're trying to break more into, commercial contractors. So we're actually exploring the scaffolding market kind of there, which is really interesting. Those are really kind of elaborate drawings. There's a lot of shapes, a lot of composition.
For sure.
But we're currently exploring that as a really good use case for the tool. And we're always honestly finding new ones. It's just finding the ones that we know are scalable. That's kind of the key.
Got it. If I remember correctly, your CEO contacted me several years ago and asked for feedback, and I was just honest whether it's good or bad. And then I think he asked me how to advertise for this product, and I told him what I tell a lot of sponsors: just come to the B.H.A conferences, you get pay your money, you get a big opportunity to speak in front of a whole bunch of people that are probably your target audience. So I'm glad that worked out really well. What a killer presentation to kind of break in the market on your first day. You must have done your homework in that presentation.
So I watched Bill Gates' presentation, or not Bill Gates, Steve Jobs. Yeah, I watched Steve Jobs' presentation when he was showing the iPad for the first time.
That's awesome. That was like that's a famous presentation.
Yeah, and I remember watching that in high school and being like,
yeah,
this is awesome.
That was revolutionary. I mean, people were just, this is unbelievable. That's cool.
I paid attention to his mannerisms, how he walked, how he formatted his presentation.
Did you have a turtleneck?
I didn't have a turtleneck. I just had a polo shirt.
Okay.
But I structured my presentation the same way because I knew that, Steve had a huge amount of success, obviously, more than I could probably ever hope to accomplish.
For sure.
But I was just hoping to emulate that experience, for people at the B.H.A. Seemed to work.
It worked, man. Plus, you have a great product. All right, so I may be like a chuck in a truck guy, it's a one-man show. I might have a crew of a handful of people, or I might be a huge national franchise. So I'm interested in your product because it adds professionalism. It reduces errors and inaccuracy, which is costly sometimes to the sales rep's commission, sometimes to the company when they're eating it. Frustrates production. They're told one thing, they get out there, the homeowner says another thing. It just it brings everything to the center. It says, this is exactly what we're doing. And there's no discrepancy. It's like, oh, there's no more like, well, I thought that squiggle line was something else. I didn't know. Yeah, but when the rep was here, he said this. So it just gets rid of all that stuff. If I want to sign up with you, I think you mentioned, how long would it take? What does it look like? Like, all right, let's go. Like, how long does it take? What's training like? And then is there support? Like, if I have questions, if I need another training session,
sure.
Do I have that?
ArcSite, you're learning ArcSite, you're learning mobile CAD, you're learning a new set of skills. So one of the things that we're really awesome here at ArcSite is teaching those skills to people who sign up. If you have a company, you have a couple people working under you that are going to be out in the field using an iPad, drawing up CAD designs, we will sit down with them. We will teach them how to use our software in a hands-on Zoom meeting, just like you and I are doing, Bill. So that's one of the best things about the product is the service we actually provide in our customer success team. Really proud of Andrew and Patrick over here. They're excellent at teaching the tool and, even making sure that people use it down the road. If you have questions, we're easy to access over the phone. That's one of the great things about working with us is that there's real people behind the tool you can get in touch with and talk to us at any time.
Does the software ever have like glitches, or do you ever have to do like major updates and the software's down and all that? How does it work?
Yeah, so we actually update the software about 4 times a month.
Wow.
You can check our version history on the Apple Store at any point. This is one of the most updated tools available for the iPad. The only one I've seen that's updated more is actually Facebook Messenger.
Wow.
So we're very proactive in making sure the system is up and running. I've worked here for almost 2 years. I think the longest, I've only actually ever seen it down once in my life. That was maybe for an hour tops. So, I mean, our online percentage is, 99.99% or something.
Nice.
I've never seen it just not work. No, that's not to say it's perfect.
It's got it. Yeah.
Where,
for sure.
You might run into like a little glitch or something. That's where we can help you out by teaching you guys best practices and, how to best use the tool.
That's awesome. So is support available like normal business hours, Monday through Friday?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. And down the road, of course, right now we're not able to have 24/7 support, obviously, due to our size, but down the road, that'll be in the pipeline.
Okay. Anything else about your companies? You've been around, I think you said 7 years. Is there anything your company has learned over the 7 years that have kind of made you stronger or helped your trajectory, whether it's customer feedback, core values, how you hire? Where are you guys headed?
Sure. I think that what's made the company grow, so much, over the last year and a half is really finding our niche. ArcSite is a great tool for contractors. So prior to that discovery, we were just a drawing platform, right? And I don't think it was really targeted towards any one group in particular. But once we realized that, this easy to use CAD design tool is really powerful for, a certain group, and we were able to target them effectively through groups like the B.H.A, through targeted outreach, that made a huge difference in how much we were able to grow. So I would say that that's the biggest lesson that we've learned. And I would say that was learned probably over the last 2 years or so.
Okay, that makes sense. And if someone wanted to get in touch with you, is it ArcSite.com, or how do they get in touch with you?
Sure. Yeah, if you just want to visit our website, it's ArcSite.com actually. ArcSite.
Okay.
ArcSite.com. If you'd like to talk to me directly, my number is 616-635-3035.
Okay.
You can ask for me in the chat. We have a little chat box over there. Just ask for Noah. If I'm not available, I'll reach out to you via email shortly. But that's probably the best way to get in touch. I also have a great ebook I wrote all about integrating mobile CAD into your sales process. Really valuable piece of educational material. If you'd like to read that, I'd be happy to send it to you.
Sweet. Anything else you'd want to include before we wind things down here?
Well, no, thank you for the opportunity. This is something that I feel really strongly about. I know that ArcSite is a wonderful tool. I think that when I think of softwares, there's a couple of primary ones that come to mind, right? So you and I are talking over Zoom. Zoom is what we think of when we think about, Skyping people now. It's funny, Skype used to be a verb. Now everyone uses Zoom, right? So now we're Zooming, not Skyping. For decades, Microsoft Word was the go-to word processor, for drafting of documents. There's still Excel for accounting purposes and graphing and all that stuff. I think ArcSite is the next primary software, but for mobile drawing, for mobile computer-aided design. So I'm really excited to work here. I think that if you can get on board early, you're going to be putting yourself in a better position versus your competitors down the road too, because you'll already be using a fairly advanced tool. So I'd encourage you, if you're not already using ArcSite, to check us out.
Absolutely.
Hop on board the train.
Looks like a great product. Hey, Noah, thanks so much for having it, for being on the show. And I hope many people can benefit from your product.
Thank you. Awesome talking to you.
Good to talk to you. Take care.
You've been listening to the Rainmaker for Contractors podcast, where basement waterproofing and foundation repair business owners and industry experts share marketing and sales information that helps you reach more customers. Please leave us a review on iTunes or your favorite podcast platform, and get all of our show notes at rainmakerforcontractors.com/podcast.